Hello and welcome to this review of my Iroc. Actually, it doesn't have a model number, it's a sample, or smaple in this case. This is more of an update video than a full review, but I thought it was a good thing to revisit this topic. I've previously done a review on this model, the K76M Fun, over a year ago, and after that someone from Iroc reached out to me asking if I wanted to try an improved model, which I think is still a pre-production type. Unfortunately, because I get messages on YouTube, Reddit DMs, Reddit messages, Desk Authority, Geekhack, Twitter, Discord and email, and many of them don't include a search function, it's very easy to lose track of communication, so I couldn't find the convo back anymore and give any feedback. But now I found them again, and I really want to talk about this keyboard because I think you'll find it interesting. I'll quickly recap the conclusions about the original model. The Iroc is a noteworthy keyboard for two reasons. First, many, like mine, come with a Lego-compatible removable top cover, which I thought was kind of silly, ugly, and uncomfortable even. I mean, not that I have anything against fake Lego. I mean, I bought this giant aircraft carrier from China recently, but, you know, maybe not on my keyboard. And second, it comes with Iroc switches, which are a kind of Alps-inspired switch developed by Alps.tw. Iroc switches come in linear, tactile and clicky versions, just like Alps. These both have the clicky version, and they come with an Alps-like click leaf, but they have an MX-compatible keycap mount, so you can substitute the rather cheap set that comes with it with something more to your liking. Nowadays there's also Zeal PC Clickies switches that do that, but at the time they were the only modern production switches that had that. Also, unlike Zeal's, these aren't derived from Cherry MX type shells, they're a quite a different design overall. To recap my opinion on the switches, they're a bit lighter than the original Alps switches, which you may or may not like. They feel a bit bulky, like simplified Alps, not as satisfying as complicated Alps, and they sound a lot worse too. I think that the dampeners inside the switches are a major cause of this, as the clack is a really integral part of why Alps switches sound so good, in my opinion. So, in other words, they were okay, but not as good as original Alps, or even Matthias's really. So after that video, they sent me this one with a non-Lego fixed top cover, which is much nicer and better looking, and switches that don't have the dampeners in them either, which for the record are very hard to remove manually, so I'd highly discourage others from trying to do so because these switches are a bitch and a half to reassemble. I can't recall if they did anything else to the switches or the keyboard, but these are the main points in any case. Now, you'd think that the removal of the dampeners would just cause a small sound difference, but holy shit, it feels completely different as well now. It's very crisp and quite tactile too, a bit like MX Blue, but much nicer in every way. It feels really clean without needing to resort to extreme tactility like the Zeal Clickies I mentioned earlier, although these switches are still fairly tactile. Frankly, this is much more the sort of tactility ballpark I was talking about when I suggested an updated version of Zeal's Clickies, which are so tactile that they don't really feel like Alps anymore. These do. It's really good, I like it. They're still very light, just like the original Iroc switches. On very rare occasions I've even tripped them accidentally, but it's not a big problem. Anyway, weighting is a very personal thing, so results will vary a lot from person to person. As you might expect, it's also really helped the sound because, like I said, now it's got that added thock from bottoming out, which really deepens the overall typing noise. It's still not as good as original Alps, but I think that's also at least in part due to the roomier chassis that old Alps keyboards used. At the very least, it's tons better than the original dampened Iroc switches. The keyboard does still have that super annoying thing where it doesn't work when you boot up your computer unless you unplug and replug it first. A few other keyboards I have also have that, and it doesn't get less irritating over time, trust me. It gets worse if anything. Despite that, it's a massive improvement over the previous iteration. From what I understand, this pattern is still not in commercial production, but I'd say that this is definitely what they should be moving towards. Not flawless, definitely, but certainly not a bad choice either. I haven't been able to find anything that looks like this keyboard on Iroc's website, but the K76M is about $80 from Amazon. Overall, I'm kind of curious about what Iroc are going to do with this design, because this is such a major improvement on the original design that I really think they ought to pursue this. I'll even go as far as to say that this is actually one of my go-to keyboards, which is a term I reserve for no BS keyboards that I can just take out of the cupboard and use very simply without any weirdness or adjustment period. And I have precious few of those types of keyboards, and I like the simple styling on this as well. That's it for this video. Like I said, it's more of an update than a true review, I guess. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and following is a typing demonstration of me typing on this keyboard.